What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode, Seth, I don't know what episode it is, 85, 86, somewhere around there. We're joined special guest Seth Gross, highest in technical difficulties. Seth, how's your day going?
Going good. Bunch of classes today. Got a lift in, a little drilling this morning. So yeah, good day, busy day, but it's a good day.
Cool. Well, I think you're my fourth or fifth interview, and, I'm really getting to like these because I love to talk wrestling, and, you are at the University of Wisconsin. We've conversed several times, but we've never, got to sit down and really chat. So this is, gives us the opportunity to do that, which is fantastic. So I'm going to start asking questions unless you have something else to go with first.
I'm ready. Let's start the questions, man. I'm ready for 'em.
Well, I want to start with, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but you said something to the effect of, when I started taking wrestling seriously, I was kind of chunky, I lost a bunch of weight, and I think you said that was 7th grade, if I remember properly. Is that correct?
8th grade, yep, 8th grade.
So what was it before that for you? I mean, was it like something your dad made you do, or kind of what it looked like?
Yeah. So growing up, my dad obviously he got me involved in wrestling. He wrestled a little bit when he was in high school and younger than that. So it was kind of a family thing. He got me into wrestling at a young age, and I was a little bit of a putty kid. I did well. I was probably a little more technical than a lot of kids, but I didn't take it. I liked hanging out with my friends, going to tournaments, but it was more my dad was in there every day making me do stance and motion for 30 minutes after practice. He was making me run laps around
when
the
you
place.
were little?
Yeah, and I got some funny videos of me just crying, running circles around that Apple Valley wrestling room when I was a little guy. And yeah, he was pretty. He liked the sport a lot, and he wanted me to do well, and he thought that was the way to approach it. And so he had me up there doing that extra stuff, and I just wanted to hang with my friends. Those were the kids I got to know, were the kids in wrestling, and I love when we get to go to team tournaments and we wouldn't wrestle that much. We just got to hang out, run around, do our thing. And, so it was like that for a while. And then up until, like I said, 8th grade, that was, I was a pretty chunky kid. I probably weighed 130 pounds, probably 5 foot tall. And I actually hit a little growth spurt that next year, so I trimmed down and decided I want to make 103. But as soon as I got to high school, my dad kind of stepped away from it. He's he obviously is still a big supporter, but he kind of stepped back.
What made him step away?
I think a big thing is it hurt our relationship. I think that we got in a lot of arguments over wrestling, and every the drive home after practices every day, me and him would just argue about wrestling every day, and he'd be like, "Do you want to win?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I want to win, but I don't know if I want to do all this right now. I'm trying to hang out with my friends, do this, whatever." And so he kind of, I think, noticed that it wasn't helping our relationship as far as father-son relationship should be, and that he was trying to be my coach more than anything. And once I got in the high school room, he knew that we had some great coaches around. And,
absolutely.
That I guess that he should see how I do without him kind of stepping in. And I think he had good intentions the whole time. It was never like, hey, I want to be really hard on him and stuff and like that. I mean, he thought that's what needed to be done for me to get good at wrestling.
Sure.
And so he kind of stepped back and talked to my coaches, and he knew they were good guys, and whatever, see what happens here. And that's kind of the first time I was without my dad kind of telling me what to do. And I went in and I wanted to get a varsity spot. I was like, hey, I'm gonna try to get this. So I cut down from 130 pounds, went 5 foot tall, and I made it all the way down to 103 that year. And that was back when the old weights, when it was 103. And I remember early on, I took a handful of losses. That was where I lost most of my matches in high school, was that first year. And that's kind of when I decided I hate losing. This sucks. This is.
Wait, so can I stop you and let's back up a little bit? So you're the putty kid, but your dad's still pushing you. So I got two questions about it. Number one, how are you fat if your dad's pushing it hard? Were you just eating a lot of stuff? And then number two, were you kind of alluded to the fact that you might have been having some success earlier, but you didn't really kind of lay it out. So you were still having success even though you were kind of soft?
Yeah. So Yeah, first of all, for the first question, I love to eat. Growing up, I was a big potato chips, pizza rolls, whatever I can throw in the microwave and eat type of guy. So yeah, I like to eat. I
What's your
work
favorite
hard and
food
stuff,
now?
but mozzarella sticks or tacos, one of the two.
Okay.
One of the two. I try to lean out on them. Sorry, I think my dogs are going crazy in the background.
All good, no worries.
But try to avoid them during the season. But yeah, I still like my food. But anyways, yeah, as far as
So if you
growing
got
up,
one junk food meal, you going tacos or mozzarella sticks?
probably mozzarella sticks.
Oh man,
Probably,
really?
I love them. I love them, man. If I'm ever, as soon as season's over, that's the first thing I'm gonna order for sure.
So then,
Hands
how do you
down.
feel about cheese curds then?
Oh, I love cheese curds, especially now being in Wisconsin. I was actually out in Ellsworth a few days ago, and yeah, they're like the cheese curd capital of Wisconsin. So had to
Absolutely.
get some, there.
Yeah, I had someone in from out of town maybe a month ago, and they were saying, well, what is the difference between a mozzarella stick and a cheese curd? And I'm like, I can't tell you what the technical difference is. I know they're different, and I know like some Wisconsin people will be very offended by the concept that you're trying to compare a mozzarella stick and a cheese curd, because I know they're not the same thing. Can you give me a technical breakdown of that or no?
They're both amazing. I love them both. I could.
They're both amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, one, I don't know, but
You don't know either.
all I know is they're both great, and both got that cheese with all that good stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's go back to your youth level success.
Yeah, so at the youth level, I was still that little kid. Guys would watch me walk out on the mat and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna crush this kid," and I'd end up putting them in, pinning them somehow, getting them on their back, wrestling, end up beating them. But yeah, I was definitely a putty little kid. I was pretty successful, I'd say, within the state. I did really well. I'd win some state tournaments when I was young at the youth levels. But every time I went kind of on the national level, I think I'd usually maybe be a low All-American, something like that. So it wasn't bad by any means, but I wasn't definitely at top level. I wasn't winning the Tulsa kickoff and winning all these Liberty, whatever they were back in the day. So I would go to a handful of them, and I'd do all right, win some matches, sometimes play, sometimes not. But yeah, it was. I did all right, I guess I'd say. And the first time I actually won something and did well on the national scene was I took third at state as a freshman, and then that year I ended up winning Fargo, which is
and you beat a kid from my high school. Right?
Yeah, Crowan. Yep. I wrestled Crowan in the
who
final
actually
day.
also wrestled at Wisconsin.
Yep. And it's kind of crazy because like that same year, I lost at the Apple Valley Invitational Tournament in freestyle, and I didn't win state that year in freestyle. I lost at Northern Plains, and I think I had a losing record at cadet duels that year.
You had a losing record at cadet duels and you won Fargo?
Yeah.
What?
So I was at 119 for cadet duels, went down to 112 for Fargo. But yeah, I had a losing record at I know at least in freestyle it was like maybe 50-50. But yeah, I had a losing record at cadet duels. Didn't do too well, and then yeah, somehow went out there and had a good Fargo tournament, and that was kind of when I started doing well on the national level.
Yeah, huge turning point. So who else is in Apple Valley at this time? Yeah, I'm trying to reference the time period. I just it gets lost on me with people younger than me. I can't compare it to my own time. So is that like, are we talking Mark Hall? Who else is there at this time?
Yes, we had a stellar team both my freshman and my senior year. We were #1 in the country, but so I overlapped. Me and Mark were on the team he wrestled 7th grade, so I think his 7th grade year through his, I want to say sophomore year, we were on the same team.
Okay.
Gable was wrestling as an 8th grader when I was there, so we were on a team together. But then we had like, when I was a freshman, it was like Destin McCauley, Jake Waste, handful of the Kingsley brothers, but yeah, a handful of really good guys then too. But yeah, I went through a lot of those top guys.
Nice. Okay, so your first national success, freshman year in high school, you win Fargo. So where does it go from there? Do you win a Minnesota State title next year, and it starts all rolling forward, or more bumpy times?
Yeah, so I went on, started growing a little bit, but I think I wrestled like 120 the next year, won state titles, won the next 3 years at state, and actually I won the next 2 years at Fargo. I was three for three at Fargo,
Really?
and then yeah, and
Wow, I
then my
didn't realize
senior,
that.
yeah, my senior year is where I kind of blew the streak. I lost in the semis. Yeah, crazy
Well, who'd you
match.
beat? Let's go. Who'd you beat in the other two finals?
So the next year I wrestled Cole Weaver, and
He wrestled
wait, no,
He wrestled
yeah,
Indiana.
yeah,
Indiana kid.
yep, Cole, yep. So he actually, that was kind of I wrestled him in both Greco and freestyle. That was my last time doing Greco. I wrestled him. He beat me in the Greco finals, and then a couple days later, I beat him in the freestyle finals in 3 periods, back in the best out of three periods, and ended up winning that. And then it was funny. So the next year, I ended up winning at 132 against the kid that I've probably wrestled 20 times. He's from Minnesota. His name's Kyle Gliva. He ended up going to NDSU.
I remember him.
But yeah. So I wrestled him like, I think I had like a 1-20 record against him. He was the guy that always beat me growing up. I could never beat him.
1-20.
Yeah. The only time I beat him was in high school at the Christmas tournament one year, and then that match at Fargo was the next time I beat him.
So
Every
you
other time.
before the Christmas, you were 0-20.
Yeah, he just always. Yeah,
Is
he
that an
always had my number.
exaggeration?
No, I mean, maybe not 15, 20 somewhere in there,
Oh,
but I
okay.
never. Yeah, that was the first time I beat him was at the Christmas tournament. But yeah, he always had my number. It'd be crazy close every time, and I think I'd have him, and somehow he'd end up getting me.
Dang. Okay. So did you ever make a UWW team cadet level?
Yep.
Right, you did, right?
Yep. So I made it at the cadet level. I was on. Joey McKenna was on the team. Mitch McKee was on the team. Chance Marsteller, a couple other guys, and we went out to Azerbaijan, and then I ended up losing to who was it? Turkey kid first round.
What weight were you at?
I was at the time. It had to have been
27 maybe.
Yeah, it was 127.2 something like that. 120. That sounds about right.
Nice.
So yeah, I wrestled kind of crazy, but yeah, I wrestled. So I wrestled the Turkey kid. He beat me first round, and then when I made the junior team 3 years later, I lost that same exact Turkey kid first round.
Come on. Is he on the senior level team now?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Do you remember his name? Surely you remember his name.
Yeah, Salim Kozan.
Salim Kozan.
Yeah, so he ended up getting bronze the year that he beat me as a cadet, and then he got silver the year he beat me the year as a junior. And
wow.
yeah, the year as a junior, he beat me like 16-14.
Dang.
He P5.
I think I remember that junior match being really crazy, and maybe some crazy calls in there too.
So the one that one was fairly scored, I'd say, but then I wrestled on the backside to see if I went for bronze against the French guy, and it was in France, and that was pretty iffy. I've watched that match like 20 times and still don't know how they had that scored that way, but yeah, they were both like 16-14 shootout, something like that. So
that's your type of match, though.
Yeah, that's the match that I like to be in. Obviously, I like to be on the winning side of it, but yeah, that's how I like to wrestle, wide open, and score as many points as I can.
There you go. Okay, so that all leads to your recruitment to Iowa. I guess what drew you there? I mean, obviously they're good, but what else about it? 'Cause, I know you were getting recruited by quite a few places, if I remember correctly. What drew you there, and what put them above everybody else?
Yeah, I went on my visits. I think the other ones I went on Okie State, North Carolina, Minnesota was one of the ones, and I think I only took 4 visits, but
So
what's that?
You didn't stick. So Minnesota, were they like on you hard, or was it recruiting someone else above you?
I think a lot of people thought I was a shoo-in to go to Minnesota.
Really?
They thought I was staying home and going into the recruiting process, that it was kind of a no-brainer that I was going to go there, and I wanted to get a little bit away from home and try something new, get away, be that distant. I don't want to be, I live 15 minutes from the U, and my parents could have, come show up whenever and stuff. I want to be, a little bit away and see how life is on my own, I guess. And obviously that didn't go so well for me that first time around, but I was looking to go a little distance away, and Iowa was kind of what I thought was a perfect distance where my parents could come visit, but it's still far enough away where they're not just gonna be popping up all the time. And then the other big thing was just the intensity in the room, how intense everybody was going, and you had guys Corey Clark, Tony Ramos, Brent Metcalf, just unreal practice partners right in my weight range, and that was another huge thing. And the day I went in there, just watching Thomas Gilman, another one, watching those little guys roll around and get after it. It was just a place I could see myself getting a lot better as far as wrestling, and I think that was the big draw there. I didn't quite see that same intensity when I went to other places and checked it out, and I just felt like, hey, this is something I want to be a part of.
Was there I'm trying to, again, the years kind of are fuzzy for me. Is Charlie Falk still there when you go on your recruiting trip? Because he's an Apple Valley kid also, and at 125-pounder.
He was not there anymore. I think he graduated by that time. But yeah, he was one of the big. He was also, growing up, he was like one of my favorite wrestlers to watch when I was a little guy.
You followed him?
Yeah. So I remember actually when I was super little, I went to the state tournament, and he was one of the guys that made the state finals, and I watched that and thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I looked up to him quite a bit growing up.
Nice. What is it like? I guess I didn't come from a big high school program. What is it like coming from a high school program where you can actually see guys in the room or at the dual meet, and then you're seeing them at the NCAA tournament, a couple years later? What is that feeling like? It's got to be weird.
It's cool. It's weird, and like I said, it's a cool thing being able to show up in the national tournament and run into Mark before the finals and be like, yo, what's up, bro? Good luck out there and stuff. And yeah, it's definitely interesting because like you said, it's not super common. There's not a lot of teams who have had multiple guys in the same year doing that well. And this year, everything goes well with Gable, Mark. We could have three Apple Valley kids in the finals, but yeah, it's cool, and growing up in that atmosphere was I think helped me a lot in that transition, having already been wrestling around with the best guys. Super easy transition going into college.
Cool. Okay, so how much your time at Iowa you want to talk about it? We just want to go straight to South Dakota State. Your call.
I mean, we could chat about it a little bit. Yeah, it don't matter.
Okay. So you spend time in Iowa City. I believe you're there for a little over a year. I mean, what was that experience like? Because I'm assuming from your results, the wrestling was really good, and then just everything else was a little too much. Yeah. So actually, I mean, it was interesting, and it was, like I said, my first time on my own, away from family, finally. And my parents were fairly strict on me growing up. It was like, if you're going to a party, I'm gonna call and talk to the parents beforehand, make sure everything's good. Make sure they checking on who I'm hanging out with. I couldn't have sleepovers or anything growing up a lot of times, and they were pretty strict on me, so I didn't know how, once I had all this freedom, what to do with it, I guess I'd say. And I started making not the best decisions, but like you said, as far as wrestling goes, it was great. It had everything. I was doing well. I was working hard. It was intense, like I'd imagine, and I just guess I got involved with maybe the wrong group, not even the wrong group of people, just doing the wrong things, I guess. They're all good, we're all freshmen in college. It's college.
Really
college kids do stupid stuff all the freaking time.
Yeah,
we were just talking, I got to sit down with some of my, I went to St. Louis for a minute, and I got to sit down with some of my old college teammates, and we were talking about, one of them just started coaching college, and now he's remembering how stupid college kids are. And I'm like, well, what about this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy that were on our team? Like, you don't remember how stupid they were?
Yeah.
It's just like, man, that's the age. So with your parents being strict, I mean, this is something I see a lot as a college coach. College coach, high school club coach. Parents being strict, and in college, you're going to get your freedom. One way or the other, you are going to have your freedom. So, when you saw how your parents did, and like you said, there's probably no ill will. They probably just thought that was what was best for you at that point in time. Would you do it the same way if you could tell them, or would you say, hey, give me a little freedom earlier. Let me have a little longer leash and make a few mistakes here and there? Because every kid makes mistakes. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I probably would say that now, but who knows? It could have been
Sure.
the same type of thing, and
Yeah.
my parents were strict, and I was still probably was the kid in the family who was trying to sneak out when everybody fell asleep, and still not making the best. They were strict, and they caught me doing some not great things in high school too, and stuff. So who knows? But maybe they would have gave me freedom, and I would have been even worse. So
Sure.
it's hard to look back and
Yeah.
say that, but. The big thing I think was just like I didn't know what to what I should. I mean, I got freedom now. I'm gonna use it a little too much, I guess, and that's kind of what I did. So
Okay. Yeah. My only ticket. My parents were fairly loose on me. Like, they didn't, not too strict. But my only ticket, non-speeding ticket, because I got a lot of them. A lot. I can't even count. Some high school kid asked me to count that today. I'm like, I don't know if I can count that high. But I got a ticket for TPing someone's house. When I was 17. How dumb is that?
There you go. That's funny.
Okay, so you end up at South Dakota State with Coach Bono and Coach Reeder. So I guess how did you end up there after? Is it a second recruiting process? Is it you already knew them, or how do you end up with them?
So at first I tried to get into Minnesota. I tried to get into University of Northern Iowa, and it just didn't work out. The Minnesota's AD wouldn't let me in the school because I had pending felony charges at the time from everything. Obviously, they charge you with as much as they can, and then you deal with it later. But I had pending charges, and they were like, until this is resolved, you can't be at our school. And same thing in Northern Iowa. And the court case wouldn't get done until halfway through the season, that second semester. So it was like, it's pretty difficult. I tried with those two, and after they both said no, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up getting a job at Target. I was selling cell phones and not even wrestling at the time. I was eating a lot of fast food, eating a lot of mozzarella sticks at the time. And and then I guess how it came about is I guess one day my aunt kind of came into my job at Target, and she's like, hey, I know you love wrestling and you want to go to school and stuff. You got to give this one last shot. And we kind of said, like, I was going to reach out to a bunch of schools in the area to shoot out emails and just see if there was any way I could wrestle. And I ended up, one of the people I emailed was Coach Bono. I didn't really have a prior relationship to him, didn't really know him or anything, but I shot him an email, and within a couple minutes he was fired up, and he was like, hey man, come check it out. We'd love to have you here, pretty much. And I think the very next day I drove down to South Dakota from my house in Minnesota and checked it out, and the rest was history. Wow. I guess I guess some of it, I stepped into his office. I could talk about that a little bit, but when I walked into his office, first thing he looked me in the eye. He's like, hey, tell me exactly what happened. I told him everything, all the little details, even though I had a court case going on. Probably my aunt was like, don't say anything about it, and it's come up later. But told him everything we did, and he said one strike, 1 minute late to practice, one bad grade, and you're gone, pretty much. So it was no messing around. If you do anything wrong, you're out of here. But he gave me that chance, and I guess I did the best I could with it, and didn't mess up again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess you said the rest is history. Your first year there, was it your first year you made the junior world team, or was that when you were at Iowa? That was when you were at Minnesota.
That was my first
at SDSU.
South Dakota. Yep.
Nice.
So I had pretty. I mean, I guess not terrible, but I was at 141 that first year, and I had like a 50-50 record after halfway through the season, and then started getting in shape finally because I came into South Dakota State weighing 165 pounds or something like that.
Dang.
And finally by the second half of the season I was somewhat in shape and started doing a little better, and then kind of just rolled into it. My weight, I was thinking at the national tournament I was weighing 2-3 pounds under, so it's like, hey, I'm gonna try for the world team at 60 kilos. So
nice. Okay, so then you make the world team. We kind of discussed that earlier. So then the next year you come back at 133, which it sounds like probably where you should have been the whole time. Just you came a little heavy. And I guess you were just on fire the whole year. I know you lost a couple matches. I know you lost in the finals, but I mean, super dominant, a lot of bonus points. What did that feel like coming off that other year where you kind of struggled a little bit and then just start crushing everybody?
Yeah, it was crazy, and I think a big part of it was just growing in my top game in wrestling. That was a big game changer for me in high school. I was a big cradle guy. I rode the back anchor like I do, but all I would look for was a cross-face cradle. And when I finally started developing my tilts and other turns and stuff, it just was easy. It just out of nowhere, I was getting on top of guys, and it was just super easy to turn them. And I just got my confidence on top and just started believing I could turn anybody I wrestled, pin anybody I wrestled. And I think as soon as I started believing that, I was just on a roll there and just felt good. And yeah, I think that was the most confident I'd been up until that point in my career. So I think that's a big part of it.
And that's AJ Shop with we talked about helping you with the details. Obviously, he was super high level top wrestler, and was at SDSU for a couple years there, and that's where you picked up a lot of the extra stuff.
Yep, yeah. So he's a monster on top. I remember even I got good on top, but I'd go in the practice room and this dude, he would get away from me and he would ride the crap out of me. I was one of the top guys at 133 in the country at top, and he would still just completely, I couldn't get away from him, and he'd still turn me fair amount. But yeah, he's got like his fingers are like that much longer than mine, like a whole inch longer. So he's got a little better grip than I do. But yeah, he helped me out a ton, and grip work, everything from grip workouts to every little technical detail as far as top. So yeah, he helped me make huge leaps and jumps on my top wrestling.
Nice. Well, I had two of them, and they were super depressing. But you end up losing in the NCAA finals, so I can commiserate with how it feels. I picked you to win, Seth, for what it's worth. I guess that was a prior team. I mean, Corey Clark is a prior teammate, right? 2 years prior to that. Yeah. So what were your feelings going to the match? Were you confident that you could beat him? Had you, what was the feel when you were going with him in the room versus now 2 years later at SDSU?
Yeah, it's crazy how it all ended up, and I think a big thing is that was probably the match I put more pressure on than any match that year. As far as that, I really dominated up until that point because I wrestled the guy that beat me earlier in the year, Eric Montoya, and I ended up majoring him. And I majored Cade Brock in the semis, and those were both guys that actually beat Clark the last 3-4 weeks of the season. And so I was confident, I felt good, but I think I put a lot of pressure. And there was obviously the huge story was Gross versus Iowa, and the whole the whole thing about what happened was coming up again. And I think I just put a lot of pressure and thought I needed to win this match. And I think I got really kind of hyped up for the match versus usually I like to be super relaxed and kind of laid back and go in there nice and calm. And I think I didn't really stick to what I normally did there, and I went out there and put a lot of pressure on myself and just didn't stick to what I know. And I think that kind of threw me off my game there. And obviously he's an amazing wrestler. He's a great wrestler, and he also did a really good job of just tying me up. He had a really good 2-on-1 that I hadn't felt quite anything like it. So he really just kind of pulled on that the whole match and slowly tired me out. And so he wrestled a great match, and it's one obviously I think about a lot and watch a lot. But it was something, and it was a tough experience, but I learned from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the next year you come back, you don't lose pretty much at all. Well, you lost to Bryce Meredith, where you bumped up a weight class 1-1, which is fantastic. But besides that, you don't lose. You win an NCAA title, undefeated at 133 pounds, very dominant. A whole bunch of falls, whole bunch of technical falls. Man, I guess what part of that year do you want to talk about? You want to talk about it all? Probably felt good, huh?
Yeah, it was a good year. Obviously, I think the big one that everybody remembers is the Tariq Wilson match. I think that was
a crazy one.
So
what happened, Seth? You usually don't get that tired.
I wasn't even tired, man. Remember, I pulled it out and over. No, I was.
Well,
I don't know what happened
you look
there.
pretty tired. I wasn't coaching you, but just from afar.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think that was another one I sat around and thought about because this dude, he came out of nowhere. He was undefeated. He had not even a good year, and all of a sudden he's teching and major like these guys. And you think you're going to wrestle one wrestler, and then all of a sudden this upset happens, and you see that he's putting all these guys on her back, and I guess little things start slipping into your head and stuff. And I was just, I think I psyched myself out a little bit there, and I knew it was a match that if I got on top, I could finish this guy off and stuff. But wrestled terrible on my feet. I had super flat feet that match. I think that he would shoot, and I wouldn't even move my leg until like 3 seconds later. And it wasn't on my game there. But he ended up taking me down 5 times. I took him down 0 in regulation. But luckily I got my chance on top, which saved me there, and pulled it out barely in overtime.
Yeah, that was a scary one. 5 times, really? I thought it was 9-9 going into overtime.
10-10.
10-10. Okay.
Yeah, 5 takedowns. I had a reversal, 4 back points, a ride time point, and 3 escapes.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember the third period being totally insane, and then obviously went to overtime. Okay, then NCAA Finals, you beat Stefan Micic. I guess fair, compared to the semis, fairly handily, right? Is that how you like to describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I got up 7-0 and then kind of stepped off the gas pedal, but I ended up winning 13-8 in the match. But it was, I got that early turn, which I
did you get tired again?
No, I just knew
he's
not gonna take me down 10 times. So.
Good, because if you got tired, I was gonna tell Coach Bono.
Twice
in a row.
I was feeling good, but I was just like, there's no way I'm letting this one fall, so I just kind of played it safe, I guess. But it was. I got him in my rebar tilt right away off the bat, and got the ride time point secured. So it was a good lead.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so then last year you have the very severe back injury. I've actually talked about your back injury several times because kid I coached in high school, Jacob Roshka, who's at University of Missouri. I think he had the exact same back surgery as you, or maybe he had one more fused. But it's a fusion, correct? That's what happened?
Yep. Yeah. So I got my L4, L5 fused together.
And so is that something that happened all of a sudden? Like for him, it was kind of congenital, built up over time. For you, is it something that just happens all at once, or was it one injury? Is it something nagging over time? You finally got to look at?
It was a nagging. So in my junior year of high school, I actually got a stress fracture in my spine. I think it was my L4, and it was something I dealt with my entire career. It was always just nagging me, but it was always super manageable. It was something that I would take some time off, I'd rehab it, I'd take a day off, and it'd feel fine again. And it slowly got worse. Like I think my junior year, I didn't lift for the last 3 months of season. And
Really?
So I mean, it got bad time here and there, and then last year it actually progressed where my vertebrae actually slipped forward out of place.
Oh.
And that started crunching my disc real bad and pinched a whole bunch of nerves in there. And at that point, it was like I could barely stand some days. Getting out of bed, it would take me 5 minutes before I could actually straighten my body and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. And I got 2 or 3 epidural shots in my back, that sucked, and tried pretty much everything to try to get the pain to go away, but just wasn't happening. So decided that it'd be best to just have the surgery.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so then you graduate South Dakota State, and then you reunite with Coach Bono and Coach Reeder here in Madison, Wisconsin. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
Yep. So I decided to transfer after my year at South Dakota because there's that coaching change, and obviously wanted to weigh in my options for grad school and stuff. But me, Coach Bono, Coach Reeder had a really good relationship. Those were some of my best friends at South Dakota. Give them a call if I ever need to talk about anything. And they were just my people, and I liked the way they trained and just liked their attitudes about everything. So I really wanted to get back with them for my final year, and luckily got granted the 6th year and everything. So good to go and ready to wrestle this season.
What was it like last year watching 133 pounds, which some were calling, which it arguably could be. I'm only a wrestling historian for the last 20 years. I don't claim to be an expert past that, but the last 20 years, I'd say it's one of the best weight classes of all time. What was it like watching all those people and you didn't get to have any fun?
Yeah, no, it sucked, man. That was after surgery. Watching all that was the hardest time of my life. You know, I've been through some stuff, and that was by far the hardest thing for me, was sitting there not being able to. You know, I couldn't even like go drill or something. Couldn't do any sort of workout. You know, for those 3 months after my surgery, which is I had it end of January. I couldn't even. The most I could do was walk. Right, I couldn't do anything. So it was like I was sitting here unable to even like do anything, I guess, and just watching these guys in this really good weight class, the weight class that I was supposed to.
All right, last question. We've had some technical difficulties making this super difficult. So I don't know if you've thought about it, but I was listening to Flow Radio Live, and Seth, I think you're one of the Hodge candidates. You know, like maybe top 1, 2, 3. And, you know, when you look at your weight class, it can really go two different ways, in my opinion. So a lot of these guys could Olympic redshirt, right? Which would then make your bonus point statistics possibly a lot more outstanding. But if they don't, then obviously quality of competition goes way up. So I think either way, it kind of looks good because we talked about how good it was last year. So, you know, if there's a mix of domination plus beating really good guys, that looks great. If it's just total domination, that looks great also. You know, you're a guy who's racked up tons of bonus points. We've talked about that already in this show. So is that something you're thinking about? Because I will tell you flat out, and you know, people try to make fun of me for this. I don't know if you know this, Seth. My last 2 years of college, I wanted to win the Hodge really, really bad. And so I went to this shitty open tournament, and I got 5 matches each year, and in the 10 matches, I got 9 pins and 1 tech fall.
Hey, there you go.
And listen, I knew Cole Conner was going to be good. I knew I had to pad my stats. And, you know, at the end of the day, 29 pins sounds a lot better than 25, and 25 pins sounds better than 20.
Oh.
So is that something you're thinking about or no?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I got my goal somewhere. But, yeah, that's my biggest one. I was a Hodge finalist my last year I wrestled and was up there, and that was one thing that's kind of why, you know, I went up and tried to wrestle Meredith, because I knew Zane was the front runner, and, you know, I got to do something.
Yeah.
Got to do something up there if I wanted to have a chance at it. But yeah, that's one of the. I really, really want to win a Hodge trophy. You know, bring one of those home, and obviously that's my focus. Got to win every match, and yeah, I hope it's because there's a whole lot of high quality opponents that I beat this year versus, you know, not being able to wrestle those guys because they're Olympic redshirting. But obviously they got to do what's best for them, and that's not my decision. But yeah, hopefully I get to wrestle some quality guys and put some bonus points up on those quality guys. And yeah, that's something that I'm always thinking about and always working on, new ways to pin guys and put guys on their back. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity, and yeah, super fired up for the year.
Yeah, I love that as a goal too, because it always gave you, hey, if you're up by 6, try to, you know, then you try to get the major. If you're up by 13, you try to get. It was just like, I know I need to get the. It kind of seems superficial in one aspect, right? But another one, it's like, I need to get this. I need to freaking pin this guy because my stats gotta keep cranking it up. Okay, well that was fun. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about before you take off?
I guess not too much. I guess the Badgers are coming this year, trying to take home a trophy this year. So yeah, be on the lookout.
There we go. I love it. I'll be watching all the time, all the matches. I'm right down the road, so I will see you soon. I appreciate you guys taking the time, and have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Peace.